Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. We are going to open a new document. So we will do File, New, call this AF, design, and your first name. Be sure that the width is 8.5 by 11. Make sure these say inches. It could also say 11 by 8.5 depending on the orientation of your paper. And be sure that the color mode says RGB color and click OK. So here is your page that you're going to design on, and on the left side is the toolbar, and across the top are the options for the different tools. Over here you need to have the layers palette visible. If it is not, you need to go under Window and choose Layers. The Layers palette is very important in Photoshop. The background layer is it's like a stack of papers. It becomes the bottom piece of paper. So what you're going to do for this project is we're going to learn how to use the Custom Shape tool. When you mouse over any of these tools over on this left-hand side, you'll notice it tells you what the tool is. So this is the Custom Shape tool. At the top are all these different options. What we want to do is choose this one, which is Shape Layers, and then the Freeform Pen tool. We're now ready to design our first shape. However, down here is the Set Foreground color. So just click on that and you can choose whatever color you'd like. I'd like this pale yellow. Click OK. Now I can start using and drawing my layer. Now remember, you're using some kind of shape that is inspired by one of the artists that you studied. Notice I enclose it and it becomes the color that I made it. Now I want to click the arrow tool, which is the default tool. Notice over in my layers palette, it looks like this. I can move this now, but in order to manipulate this shape, I need to rasterize the layer. Go under Layers Palette, Rasterize Layer. Okay, so now notice how it changed, and now I can not only move it, but I can Command T, which is the quick key for transform. I can now move this and manipulate this in any way that I would like. I can also go under the Edit menu, click Transform, and I'm going to choose Warp, and I can play around with all of these different bars here, move them out or in to get a shape that I'm really happy with. Okay, so this one looks a little more interesting. Okay, once I'm happy with it, I click the arrow tool and hit Apply, or you can click Return. So now I can move this shape. Now I want more of this same shape. For this project, you can use two shapes. So I'm going to Command J, two different shapes. Many shapes, but two different shapes. And to select this shape, I'm going to Command click on it. Notice that they're all on their own layer. Okay, so to select a shape, again, I mouse over, Command click, and I can then move that layer. Now, I said you can use two different shapes, but if I want the same shape, one bigger, one smaller, what I want to do is Command T, which is transform, and I can change the size of this exact shape by holding the Shift key in and moving this in a little bit and hit return. So it's the same shape, it's just a little bit smaller. Again, to make more of them, I Command J, and Command click to get the layer. So you can see how you can make several different shapes here. Now I am going to choose the elliptical marquee tool for my second shape, and I'm going to drag this out. I need to make sure I use a new layer with this tool, which is down here. Notice it says create new layer. But I decided I want a circle, not an ellipse, so I'm going to Command D, which is deselect. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and then drag this out. That makes a perfect circle. Then to get a different color, I'm coming down here, clicking this blue color, hit OK. I can find the paint bucket tool over here. It might be under the gradient. Click and hold to get the paint bucket and simply dump that on there. Command D is deselect. Go back to the arrow tool. Now I can move this wherever I'd like. Again, I'm going to Command J to make more of that layer. Now, if you would like to change the color of the layer after the fact, what you do is mouse over the layer, click Command, that automatically selects that layer, and again, come over here, choose the new color, hit OK, click the paint bucket, and notice how that changes. And Command D is deselect. Come back to the arrow tool. So, there you have it. Again, you can play around with the movement. You need to pay attention to the balance of the positive and negative space, making sure the negative space is as interesting as the positive. And you may overlap the shapes. Notice when I command click, I can move this to overlap. Again, make sure you play around. You are limited to 2 different shapes, 2 different colors. Okay? So now, to be sure that you save this, do File, Save. Notice this is a Photoshop document. I'm going to save it to my desktop, which is where it is, and click Save. I'm going to replace that one. Hit OK. There you have it. Good luck.